Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. Today we're going to talk about the atmosphere of the third day in Goyang, which already felt different from the very beginning, more intimate, calmer, yet filled with countless small details that truly warmed the heart. From soundcheck to the moments on stage, everything felt so natural and full of an effortless closeness. Entering the third day in Goyang, the atmosphere already felt different from the start, softer, warmer, and more intimate. As soon as the soundcheck began, that atmosphere could immediately be felt. There was a calmness that didn't feel forced, as if all the stage energy was moving slower yet deeper. Jimin and Jungkook were fully present in that moment, not just performing, but truly being there, enjoying every second of it. Both of them seemed to shine in a very natural way. Relaxed shoulders, effortless smiles, and steady confidence created a soothing aura. There was no sense of rush or pressure, only comfort born from long experience and a bond that had already been built over time. Jimin moved with light, effortless grace. Every step flowed naturally, his expressions felt alive, and his energy radiated a brightness that was hard to ignore. The stage lights seemed to follow his movement, highlighting his hair and sparkling gaze. There was no tension in him, only small laughter, spontaneous gestures, and a warm aura that made the atmosphere feel more alive. On the other hand, Jungkook carried a more grounded and stable energy. He didn't make many exaggerated movements, yet his presence felt strong and calming. There was a quiet depth in the way he stood, in the way he observed his surroundings. Especially when his gaze often drifted toward Jimin, not in a flashy way, but softly, consistently, and attentively, as if he naturally always knew where Jimin was. When Jimin began moving with his cute and charming style, Jungkook simply watched from a distance. He gave a small, sincere smile. A smile that wasn't just a spontaneous reaction, but a reflection of comfort and quiet admiration. This moment became even clearer when the camera captured his expression. His focus seemed to narrow to just one person, while the rest of the world faded. But what truly stood out were not big actions or dramatic gestures, but the small, natural closeness between them. The way they stood near each other between songs, shoulders occasionally brushing without awkwardness, and short exchanges that seemed to happen more through glances than words. Everything flowed naturally, without script, without anything forced. The days in Goyang also showed different dynamics. The first day was filled with explosive excitement and initial energy. The second day brought stronger intensity and emotion. Meanwhile, the third day felt more mature, calmer, warmer, and more intimate. As if two people no longer needed to prove anything, simply existing and enjoying each other's presence on a large stage. There was a small moment during soundcheck when they stood close and laughed about something only they understood. Jungkook leaned in slightly, while Jimin squinted his eyes while laughing. In an instant, the vast stadium felt smaller, turning into a space that seemed to contain only the two of them. That simple moment left a strong impression because it felt so personal amid the crowd. Throughout the third day, they appeared lighter, more in sync, and more comfortable with each other. Not only in visuals, but in the way they occupied the space around them. There was a harmony that couldn't easily be described, like two people who had long been used to walking side by side in the same rhythm. All of this clearly showed one thing. They were an incredibly close-knit team, attentive and caring without needing many words. The soundcheck on the third day in Goyang may not have been filled with big dramatic moments. But that is exactly what made it special. Because sometimes, the simplest things can convey warmth far deeper than even the most spectacular performances. Amid that warm atmosphere, a small moment of sweet chaos unfolded. Jimin, with his playful teasing, was the first to mess with Jungkook. He casually tickled him as if it were nothing. Then, unexpectedly, he gave a light tap on Jungkook's chest. Jungkook's reaction was very clear. He looked surprised and froze for a moment, as if his brain was trying to process what had just happened. His expression seemed to say, "Did that really just happen?" There was a brief pause that only made the moment even funnier and more real. But after the surprise faded, the atmosphere softened. A small smile appeared on Jungkook's face, not just an ordinary smile, but a warm one filled with a hint of shock, slight helplessness, and deep familiarity. That simple expression became the heart of the moment's warmth. Interestingly, this wasn't the first time Jungkook showed such a reaction to Jimin's light touches or playful teasing. It felt like a repeating pattern. Every small interaction between them always left the same impression: spontaneous, warm, and genuine. This moment also brought back memories of Are You Sure? Season 2, especially the train scene. When Jungkook was about to grab a snack, Jimin suddenly held his hand with both of his small hands without warning. That simple gesture turned the atmosphere much softer than it seemed. What made it even more meaningful was Jungkook's response. He didn't pull his hand away. He simply let the hold stay, as if there was no urgency to let go. He casually continued what he was doing, using his other hand to take the snack, as if the situation was completely natural and comfortable. Moments like these may seem small at first glance. There are no big dialogues, no dramatic gestures, just light touches, spontaneous reactions, and brief pauses that are easy to miss. But that is exactly where their strength lies. Every time Jimin touches Jungkook, even in the simplest way, there is a subtle shift. Jungkook's expression softens, his focus changes, and the atmosphere around them shifts as well. It feels as if there is an invisible connection between them that is always active, working naturally without needing explanation. Whether in playful teasing or simple everyday closeness, everything always feels like it carries an unspoken meaning, warm, gentle, and natural, like a silent language only the two of them understand. Looking back at the second day in Goyang Stadium, BTS delivered a 23-song set full of energy, passion, and unforgettable moments. From the very beginning, the stage was shining brightly, but when Jungkook stepped under the spotlight, everything felt even more alive and intense. Jimin and Jungkook didn't just perform on stage, they truly shined. Their visuals, the confidence they radiated, and the natural way they moved drew attention effortlessly. Every performance felt solid, energetic, and full of maturity and professionalism. But what made that day even more special wasn't just the big performances, but the small details between them. In the middle of the vast stage, there were always moments when they unconsciously moved closer to each other again, as if there was a natural pull that always brought them together even in the crowd. There was a particularly memorable moment, when Jimin slightly lowered his head, revealing goosebumps on his arm, perhaps carried away by the stage atmosphere. Jungkook immediately noticed it. His gaze paused, and gently he seemed to touch and brush Jimin's arm, as if making sure everything was okay. A simple gesture, yet full of care. Brief glances, small smiles, and almost inaudible whispers became part of interactions that felt completely natural. They found each other in subtle ways, yet it was very clear to those who paid attention. Their chemistry never felt excessive, but rather strong because of its simplicity. There was also a moment when they exchanged smiles. Not just ordinary smiles, but ones that felt like a secret language. As they passed each other, their hands briefly touched and held for a moment. Very short, almost unnoticeable, but enough to leave a deep impression. All of this was reinforced by the way Jungkook always seemed to soften whenever he was near Jimin, and how Jimin naturally moved closer without hesitation. Jungkook often followed Jimin's presence, as if it were the most natural thing for him to do. They didn't need grand gestures to show closeness. Their strength lies in the small details that are often overlooked. Glances, smiles, light touches, and brief pauses filled with meaning. From these simple things, a complete picture of their bond is formed. And in the end, another night in Goyang became a reminder that when they stand together, there is something that feels a little brighter than usual, not because of the stage itself, but because of the way they sincerely and naturally exist for each other. And that is the series of warm moments from the third day in Goyang. A day that may not have been filled with big actions, but was instead full of meaningful small details. From glances, smiles, to simple interactions, everything created a warm and natural atmosphere between them. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Jikook moments. See you in the next video, because there is always another small story waiting for us to explore together.